always wear heels. No crop top is too cropped, and belly rings are so hot. Skirts should be the size of a belt. Life's short, take risks. And if you're not having fun, then just leave.
Did you know that you might be intentionally or unintentionally dressing for the male gaze? Did you know that you might just be supporting a repackaged version of patriarchy by avoiding the male gaze outfits? Like avoiding the henchman you saw once who is trying to buy a house with you already? Well, fear no more. Today we will strip down the male gaze in fashion and take a good look at the TikTok trend, POV, you stopped dressing for the male gaze. To start off, what is the male gaze? The male gaze was introduced by filmmaker and theorist Laura Mulvey in 1973, where, quote, in a world ordered by sexual imbalance, pleasure in looking has been split between active male and passive females, that women are objectified in mass media to adhere to the heterosexual male sexual fantasy, seen in close-up shots of the female bodies in films and TV, in the inconvenient costume choices for female characters that don't add any value to the storytelling, and in trends of fashion. A lot of the typically quote-unquote feminine outfits are either tight or short. You might argue, cool, so why does any of this matter? Because you are what you wear, living in an overly self-expressive era. Do not tell me that clothes are just pieces of fabric, okay? Clothes are a form of creativity, self-expression, and most importantly, a means of communication. This is true for the majority of millennials and Gen Zs, including myself. I'm not saying this is something to be either super proud of or ashamed of, but as people born and raised in the age of the internet, we as humans became very expressive, sometimes a little overboard. And almost everything and anything has to do with your identity. Oh, that job is so not me because it's boring and I'm not a boring person. That bag is just so vanilla, and as someone with a personality, I refuse to carry it. I need to add 100,000 stickers to my laptop because it's my laptop. You get the idea. So when girls in the TikTok community made the realization that a lot of female fashion is based on appealing to the male gaze, a whole trend began as POV, you stop dressing for the male gaze. Users show themselves ditching the denim shorts and tight dresses, the short skirts, and skin-revealing tops. Let's first talk about the actual issue with the implied male gaze in fashion, and then discuss how people are reacting to it by changing their behavior, which, not gonna lie, can be a little problematic. I think it's important to be aware that a lot of things that the common popular culture considers attractive in a female body, such as curves, a tight waistline, long legs, glowing collarbone, are highly influenced by the male gaze. What's considered attractive then gets translated into the clothes that make those parts of the female body more flattering or exaggerated. For instance, we don't typically find clothes that intentionally make our waist look 3 times bigger than our hips. Speaking of which, a great example of a fashion invention, the corset, that's it, dates back to the 16th century and was a common piece of clothing worn by most women in order to accentuate their waist and achieve an hourglass figure, a figure that appeals to the male gaze. If you were a woman in the 16th century, or Kim Kardashian, chances are the degree to which a corset is worn will cause you some unbearable discomfort. The long-term associated impacts include deformed rib cages and miscarriages, not to mention how the corset barely leaves the breathing space for half a human.
They can't breathe sometimes.
Like this, I would
because you cannot sit down. I mean,
you really can't.
Yet in the modern days, 5 centuries after, Waist trainers from the Kardashians were sold to women faster than they could run on a treadmill. Yes, we have progressed a whole lot as a society. Even centuries after, women have been conditioned from childhood to dress to please men by wearing the clothes that accentuate the hourglass look with a little tightening of fabric here and there and a little less fabric there and here. So what's the alternative? According to TikTok, looser fits and psychedelic prints after ditching clothes that quote-unquote appeal to men. Is this real change or just a change of package? TikTok users who hopped on the trend to not dress for the male gaze express that they are dressing for themselves, though sometimes it does just seem like a poor repackage of the trend cycle. Which is a whole other issue in relation to the shortening of the trend timeline and making clothes more disposable. Another issue is that while the trend for not dressing for the male gaze was great for raising the awareness of our intentions or unintentions when picking outfits, the extreme side always gets a little ugly. It spiraled into an attack on women who choose to dress in more revealing clothing. Just because a girl has a low-cut top, a short skirt, a tight dress, a whatever, because she got it as a gift, she likes the designer, it was hot outside, or she simply just freaking likes the piece. It's her choice to dress however she likes. And she honestly might not be making a single % of effort in trying to appeal to the male gaze. When overanalyzing what women wear and determining whether if that was rooted in appealing to the male gaze, it's just an extension of the I'm not like the other girls trend, where there's internalized misogyny toward women as they get judged hard by what they wear and get slapped on the label that they are men pleasers. A lot of these TikToks for the POV, you stop dressing for the male gaze, literally show the after as whatever these girls think is the opposite of the male gaze, which isn't quite the female gaze either, but just putting the most amount of fabric on or the least feminine clothes on doesn't necessarily solve the problem. It's almost like accidentally putting too much sugar into a cake you're trying to bake and then try to fix it by pouring a bag of salt into it. And now you have a very flavorful cake that nobody wants to eat. If you select an outfit based entirely on whether a man will be interested or not interested in it, they are still controlling your style. Negative attention is still attention. And unpopular opinion, it's okay to dress and please others. Doesn't have to be men, could be your friends, your family, a certain group you want to belong to. We all inherently do this, not because we are anti-feminist or we hate ourselves, but it's just natural human behavior because as humans, we crave companionship. As long as you yourself become aware of your intentions. That you don't end up buying dirty corsets just because someone you're attracted to complimented how your waist looked last time you wore one. And that you yourself actually feel comfortable and proud of what you're wearing. Not just telling yourself every 30 seconds how comfortable you feel wearing that extra tight corset, that the air almost smells more fresh when you breathe in and out. That's self-deception. Listen to your body. So that is all I wanted to share today. Let me know in the comments of your thoughts on dressing or not dressing for the male gaze. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram to join my growth journey. I'll see you next week. Bye.
This is the end.